you in for a real treat here. This is part of the Magic Trick series where we find questions that just have stunning, subtle little tricks to make life easier. And so if I said to you, how would you write derivative? You might say like that, or you might say like that. That's probably two of the most common ones. Then if I suddenly ask you to work out this, dx over dy, given this, what most people would do is they would just go about doing the derivative as normal, times the power by the coefficient and drop it by 1, and they'll end up with an answer looking something like this. They'll feel pretty chuffed, tell their friends, and not know why they all got it wrong. It's the absolute subtlety of dx over dy. And we said in an earlier video that the letter on top is the one that must be the subject. So before I can begin a question, just quickly check, is it in the normal way that it's written, or is there a different letter there? Because if there is, like this case, then I need to get x as a subject. So that becomes the start of where I put my efforts in. So I'm going to times both terms by 8 to get rid of an eighth. So I end up getting that, and I'm trying to get x by itself. So I cube root the number, and I cube root y. I'm just going to go straight into writing it as a power. Now I can go into doing the derivative because x is by itself, and now I do it like normal, times the power by the coefficient, so that becomes 2/3, and I drop the power by 1, so that becomes minus 2 over 3. And just to be safe, let's take negative powers to the bottom. And there's the subtle difference with those kind of questions. Another one, just while we're at it, you could get a question that gives you terms that look like this. And you've probably seen these ones before, and if you haven't, you're in for a treat, because they often catch people out in the middle of exam. They say dy dx. Okay, so that's normal. Y must be the subject with respect to x. So it's only the x's themselves that are getting derived. So it's the times the power of x by the coefficient and drop the power of x by 1. And because the a to the power of 3 is attached to it, it stays as is attached to it. Similarly here, the power of x times the front, so 21x squared, the a to 4 is attached to it. I'm doing derivatives with respect to x, so this also just becomes a normal question, times the power by the front and drop it by 1. And this I treat as if it's a constant term because there's no x in it, so it cannot be derived. So here's my answer. Whereas if I ask you dy dA, that means I need to do derivatives, but as it pertains to a. So now my focus is just on the a's, and so I'm going to times the power of a by the front, so that becomes 15 a squared, and the x is attached to it, so I just leave it as is. I times the power of the a by the front, so that's 28 a to the 3, x cubed stays as is. The x term in this case is irrelevant to me because it's with respect to a, so it falls away completely. And then I pick it up with the last a term, and I do it as normal, times the power by the front and drop it by 1. So you can see the subtlety of how they ask it and what letters they put at the top, like the first question, and what letters they put on the bottom.